Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ESL Pro Tour Europe Weekly. I'm Nathanias, and we have a Terran versus Zerg, the first of the day, to bring you some fun. I don't really count the Terran versus Random that we had earlier, especially since it was a little bit too one-sided. In the top right, we have the red Terran player. You know him, you love him. He's Clem from Team Liquid. Based God Squad representing. In the bottom left, he faces off against the blue Zerg player, a Titan of Europe. He is Denver. That fast hatch. And presumably a little bit of a gas and then a pool. Standard schmandard Zerg things that we do expect. No proxy out of Clem this map. I'm honestly, I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm rubbing my hands together. I'm drinking my coffee. I'm feeling myself because this should be a freaking sweet matchup. This should be an absolutely fantastic series. We've had a couple close ones, but you know, I've been looking for that, you know what I mean? That 3-game, go the distance, macro, little bit of cheddar, some fantastic other stuff. I'm looking forward to seeing some of that out of this series. That's my expectations and my hopes. I do think we'll get it, and it's also what I want. And as we all know, I never get what I want, so it's going to probably be one good macro game and then a cheese to finish it up real quick in the second map. But hopefully that's not what happens. Hopefully we just get the greatest Terran versus Zerg matchup that we have literally ever seen in our entire lives. For this series. So the Reaper's done, command center's on the way, factory, marine. Some Terrans do go for the reactor instead of the marine so that they can get a little bit of that faster infrastructure setup. But I always like the marine. I do think you should always try to open with the marine. There's a lot of Zerg players that take advantage of Terrans who can't push away a scouting overlord. Now the Reaper does come in. It's gonna get almost gets a drone. Good spore build there, but even that is some resource denial, right? And looking like he is really trying to squeeze some more value out of this Reaper. Now, one of the other things that I do like, we've seen more and more Terrans doing that, where they put that SCV on patrol where the third base is supposed to be. But see, the Overlord, it's kind of risky to just run in and scout now, right? It's going to be hard to know what exactly is going on. He does have the free perv spot by the natural that lets him see everything. But as a Terran player in this situation, if you know that the Zerg player doesn't have a third, the Reaper's doing a little bit of poke, and he went into the main and saw that the timings for everything seemed pretty normal. You don't really have a whole lot to worry about as Clem. Denver's going to need to slowly push out with these queens, get a tumor or two going, and in order to be able to start that third base up. I don't think we're going to see Denver try to stick on 2 hatches. If he was going to do that, he probably would have already booted up a lair or made about 70 Zerglings. So, well, maybe we're going to have a little bit of a bly coming out of Denver than he does have. Okay, this is what I get. This is what I get. You think you're smart, Nate? You think you're smart? Did you think the lair would have already started? You're a damn fool. You damn fool, Nate. There's the lair. Well, as I was saying, unless he gets a fast lair, of course, because that could be used for a Nidus, or if he thinks that he's going to get hit with something like actually, you know, Nidus would be really good against most builds that a Terran player could try to do off of an early starport. Not that that's necessarily what he's going to go for. He only has 4 queens. I do think he'd probably try to boot up a few more. Could be a more of just a standard play with maybe fast Bane speed. Could be going for fast Bane speed, maybe Ling Bane Muta. He wants to get the Spire up at a good time. You usually won't see the lair start this much faster than a third hatch, but because of the delay and the control from Clem, he has made things a little bit tough for Denver, who does poke in. Now, it is important to note, he comes over here and sees the reactor building on the factory, and I think he might have caught a glimpse of that starport floating too. Hellions are going to try to yeet themselves. Okay, no, he pulls back. He unyeets. It's very risky to throw them away like that. So there it is. It is the Spire. So that's why he went for that as fast as he did. He wanted to get that Spire up. Third command center is building in the wall. Now the free Overlord spot, he can see that, so he knows the timing of it. So even though his third's late, it wasn't the fastest third that a Terran player has ever tried to get themselves. And as we all know, Mutalisks, they can be very, very annoying. Looks like that Liberator tried to do something and was unable to. You need to be ever vigilant. And the map control units like the Hellions are completely they 99% of the time, they're just completely gone as soon as the mutas come out. It's very hard to defend that. It's very hard to hold on to it. And Denver hasn't really taken too much of a beating. He's got a nice little drone lead. Having the ability to spread workers out on the third base should give him a little bit of an income advantage. But of course, there are the mules there still for Clem. So he's holding in strong. You can see that's kind of where it leverages out. The mineral income is close, a small lead for Denver, but the gas income was also looking really good there before those extractors finished for him. So you can see the onus is on Terran to put a little bit of pressure. Very standard in TvZ. You want to try and stop the swarm from overgrowing and taking the entire map. And now the Mutalisks are going to come out. I do wonder if he's going to try and surprise him with the mutas. I mean, with the scan, he should know that they're there, but is he going to try and show them? Is he going to try and send them straight to his base? Is he going to try and hunt down the Hellions with them? There are Widow Mines that are out on the field. Stim is done. We have Marines ready to rock and roll. I do like bringing the Hellions back, though. Bring them back and either repair them or get that armory. There we go. There's the armory. It's actually going to line up for 2-2 very nicely. Really good infrastructure set up here by Clem. And just turn them into Hellbats. Add them to the army. Hellbats are good. Hellbats are good. Now, because he's, you know, these mutas are a bit quick, it's not like he has a crazy number of them to start off. It's not the 2015 mass muta transition on Daybreak or something crazy like that. Nate, Daybreak was a Wings map. Did you guys know Daybreak was played in Heart of the Storm as well? Yeah, it's messed up. That map lived way too long. Way too long. Oh. Well, I don't know about that. Any muta losses are definitely big. Well, he hasn't lost one yet, Nate. Joke's on you. Good control. Really good control from Denver. Wait, is this real? He hasn't lost a single unit yet? Not bad. Not bad considering that Clem tried quite a bit to do a little bit of early harass. Might lose first. Mute. No. Don't jinx yourself, Nate. Well, there is a big attack coming, though. But he's got a good amount of Banes. The creep spread is far enough out that it's going to take several scans for him to actually reach a base. And there you go. He's just going to run the Bane straight in there. He's got the mutas up front. Hellbats are busting. He has 10 Banelings on the way. 8 Banelings running over to the third to crash into this mineral line. SCVs dying in large numbers, ladies and gentlemen, getting absolutely ravaged. The wall being worked away at 2. One of the things you definitely need to have is he gets Burrow and just starts to flood out Zerglings. Got to get that second factory, and drilling claws is so important for those Widow Mines. Without drilling claws, they really have a hard time increasing and expanding that value. When a Widow Mine blows up on a single Zergling, or even just 2 or 3 Lings, and then gets picked off, that's gas. That's gas that you're losing. You really want that Widow Mine to be able to get a second shot off if the Zerg player doesn't bring detection. He does get those 2 Overlords, but there's plenty of supply available for Denver as he snags a medevac. And that's where that terrain becomes annoying, is he's trying to get in the position around here. Denver's done a really good job of keeping the creep where it needs to be to delay the Terran player from being able to push him. Mutas do get baited a little bit, and he drops 1, but there's another scan. And every time that those SCVs get taken down by a run-by, that scan hurts a little bit more to use on the opposing infrastructure. Now, mind you, Denver's chill on his 1-1 with his +1 attack for the mutas. He's not getting any other upgrades. He's not getting an infestation pit. There's no hive. He's just doing tons of damage. Look at this. He even burrowed 2 of the Banelings. So he kills another 10 SCVs. And now he has to worry about burrowed Banes with his scans. And this is just a really difficult position to be in if you're a Terran player. You normally want to push. You want to attack with bio. You want to get damage done. But this is looking impossible. Denver's just completely overwhelming Clem right now. And at this point, with the rest of the forces that he has back there, there's not much of an anchor for the Terran player. I mean, fighting off creep is definitely going to be a little bit easier than fighting on creep. And these mines, well, they actually blow up on the Marines. The Banelings are still alive. He could send the Banes to the mineral line now. Yeah, see, this is the problem. SCVs getting blown up in large numbers again. And Clem is just not able to secure that third base. He's having such a hard time with it. The Lings continue to flood forward for Denver. He does finally start his 2-2 and get the infestation pit. But it's so, dominant performance in this first map by Denver. Absolutely disgusting. Well played. I'm excited for game 2. I'm very excited for game 2. I think if I was going to predict a one-sided result in this series, I probably would have leaned in the favor of Clem just because I'm biased and I love Terran players. But man, Denver really just smacked him right there. Absolutely fantastic. Super well done. Super well done. All right, we've got the lobby for game 2 up. I'm in it. We're just waiting for the game to start. Bum, 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 bum. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun. All right, let's get it. Game number 2 loading up. All right. We are locked and loaded, ready to rock and roll. On the bottom left, we've got Denver leading the series 1-0. And on the bottom right, we've got Clem trailing. We are on Golden Wall, another meme map of sorts. This is definitely one of the most unique maps in, I would say, the history of StarCraft 2. I don't think there's ever been a map where an entire, I mean, it's almost half, really. I'm sure someone's gonna be like, Nate, it's actually, this is like more 40% and this is more 60%, but that's not really what I'm trying to get at. My point is, there's a massive area of the map that's just inaccessible at the start. And you can mine your way through it, but most of the time, it's pretty risky to do that for a Zerg or anybody else, because you want to limit the avenues of which you can be harassed. However, you're also got a ton of airspace, too, in this bottom portion that you can hide around, you know, and you can safely just chill if necessary, which goes the other way for overlords being hidden and whatnot. Not as much dead space or hiding places in the middle. There's still, you still have like 5 pillars. So even if you try to send a Marine out to like deny the overlord from reaching this one, the Zerg can always just go here or here or here. All right, you got a lot of places to hide overlords. So pretty safe map. Checking for some proxies. It's first overlord, second overlord, going through the normal motions. And nothing super unusual happening here from the looks of things. He's going to send the SCV scout out while he tries to take the natural. I think lines up reasonably well with standard expectations for a StarCraft 2 match of Terran versus Zerg. Hoping for something a little more competitive out of Clem. He seemed to be doing a decent bit of pressure early on, but he actually didn't kill a single unit until there were Mutalisks out. It's kind of wild to think about. He forced a cheeky spore cancel, something like that or two, but at the end of the day, he wasn't really able to give himself the momentum that he needed to try and pile drive the Zerg down. Terran versus Zerg is a matchup that's all about momentum, and it goes both ways, right? When the Zerg player gets momentum, all of a sudden creep is everywhere. You're getting Ling run by, mutas are poking your add-ons and all of that. When the Terran gets momentum, you've got drops landing in every base. The Zerg can't keep up. There's no creep to connect things. It just gets difficult, but the Reaper bounces a drone off, and he's going to be able to turn that one into a spore. And he wasn't even able to get a single Ling last game, and it does not look like he will be able to do that on this map either. There is a creep tumor being put on the ramp so that he can help push himself down and get that third base set up. And we'll see which one he goes for. Some crazy Zerg players try to take that gold early on. Although, of course, the downside of taking the gold at this point is you could always put a unit on the other side. Something that Terran is very good at. Zerg doesn't really have any ranged units, and with 5 range for the Queen's anti-ground, if you get a Marine or a Hellion here, that base is kind of like eh. So it forces you to get other weird units that you may not necessarily want. But look at the lair timing. This lair, this is the fast lair I was talking about. This is the I'm not really that concerned about having a third base lair. Because what he's saying with this is, honestly, there's like pretty much 2 things that people do. Either it's going to be, and he's still building Queens, so I think it'll be a Nidus. It's either going to be a Nidus or just a Roach speed like Roach Ravager bust. And it's really hard to do that. It's really hard. It looks like it's going to be a Hellbat build out of Clem, though, with a medevac. So Roaches in general will counter this. And there's the Nidus. Yeah, this is about what I would have thought. If he had stopped building at like 2 or 3 Queens, yeah, I think going for the 4th Queen with this layer timing, it had to be a Nidus. It could have just been a fast Roach speed build, which people, that is a thing. Nathan, no one does that. Well, I mean, if you watch Bly's games, he does literally every build, so technically none of them are out of the meta, if you really think about it. Caster cop-outs. That Urubu, he doesn't want to be a part of this. He's like, guys, could you go kill each other somewhere else? I'm good over here. I'm just living my life. So here's a couple of Marines. There's the Hellbats, but he's got Queens and Roaches, and he's got a Nidus. And there it goes. Look, he's looking for it. He pulls immediately. SCVs are not enough to deal with this. You need a lot more than that. I mean, if he doesn't load it. Oh, no, he's loading it. Are you ready? Do you know? I feel it too. There's the transfuse. And yeah, Queens versus Liberator. I mean, with enough SCVs to repair, you probably don't want to sit in the Lib's space. Oh, actually gets baited a little bit there, walking in that zone. You have to be really cautious. If the SCVs mass repair, that Liberator could do a lot of damage, but more Roaches are going to come out, forcing the SCVs to come fight. Roach speed is on the way. The Nidus is still up. He's circling the Roaches around. He's going to build another Nidus in that middle area. And as long as he keeps dancing these Roaches around outside where the Liberators are, he has a tremendous capacity to get damage in. Good repairs by Clem onto the Liberator, as that's basically, that is the anchor. That is the anchor for his force. The Nidus on the bottom side is still there, but it looks like the Queens and the Roaches are going to get cleaned up. I gotta say, man, Hellbats in low numbers against Roaches are surprisingly effective. I definitely thought this was going to go worse than it was, but the way that Clem used the defensive Liberator was genius. I mean, he just did a really, really good job of keeping that going, and I don't think you want to unload those 3 Roaches here, Denver. Absolutely not. He's going to try and put one in the natural, but the Libs are right here. He's going to siege up over it. Denver is still... he's building 2 drones. He's trying to rebuild some of his Queens. He's taking his gases, but I definitely don't see I don't really see a path to success here. I don't see a path to victory right now for Denver. It's going to be extremely hard for him to accomplish anything really in this situation. You have a Terran player who's getting his 3rd now. He's got more workers than you. The Zerg player only just now going to take that 3rd. And I say that, but he has to wait. He can't even queue it up. He has to just sit here with his drone. The beta drone waiting for minerals versus the Chad SCV, who's 17 seconds into producing. However, that Viking, if he doesn't see this Overlord, the Nidus could always come back. You know, Ravagers with Roaches are still good here because Clem he doesn't have stim or anything. I think he's about to start it. So there is a window where he could, you know, put a Nidus here and try to push this ramp. But that pretty much is only possible if the Liberators can be removed from the equation. So he has to do it. He'd have to be there right now. Like if he was there right now, if he had a Nidus finishing right now while these Libs are in the middle, then I could see it, because then he would have a window where there's nothing to harass him or defend against it. And these, I mean, I still think these Ravagers with this Roach could actually do work. There is no stim. He needs the Liberators, and Ravagers can kill Liberators. So there it is. He's going to build a Nidus right in the face of him. He says, all right, I'm feeling pretty confident here. No siege tanks? What are you doing, you clown? And Denver wants to get that 2-0. Is he going to be able to make it happen? The Liberators are on the return. The Nidus is so close to finishing. It's done, but nothing's coming out. It does get picked off. Liberator Chan is doing her best to hold on here, but there's the Biles. Boom, boom, boom. She is DED. Now, there is a tank. Don't put the Liberator over the tank. If they're on the same hex and they both die to the same 3 Ravager Biles, you get very sad. But what he's trying to do is wait. He's waiting for him to use the Biles before he sieges the Lib. See, there he goes. He did not want to siege the Liberator while the Ravagers had the Bile available, because he really didn't want to lose that. But he scans the 3rd and you see no drones. There's nothing here. There's no drones. The Queen is only just getting there to start the injects. So as far as the economy situation goes, Clem is actually still okay. He's still okay. Once stim is done, he has a good number of units. He could do some damage. He could get some pressure in. You really just want to body block for the tank. Don't let him run up and see. Oh, yeah, beautiful, beautiful. So he might get the Lib. Yeah, he does get the Liberator, but the tank is sieged. Stim is done actually now. So I think the capacity for this to do any more damage is done. I think he's completely out there. He's only just now able to start the E-Bays, but honestly, it's not the end of the world. There's going to be a little bit of that Carapace advantage because of the timing from the Evolution Chamber for Denver, which will make his Roaches really sturdy. But since he's switching into Mutas, that upgrade's not going to probably provide as much value as he otherwise would have hoped. At least the 1-1 will be very late for Clem. And if I'm looking down the line, the position that this is in makes it pretty snipeable, right? It's on the edge of his base. There's actually no room to put a missile turret by these. Maybe you could squeeze one here. Maybe. I'm not actually sure. Maybe. So these eBays, he could just... That's the sound that mutalisks make when they attack, just in case anybody was curious. So these Ravagers, they see the medevacs. There's 3 of them. There's a bunch of Marines in there. The Carapace is about to finish, though. If anybody was curious, +1 armor on a Roach makes a Marine require about 8 to 9 more hits to kill it. It really depends on how many Marines you have because of the Roach's health regeneration. But yeah, it's a lot. Like just that +1 Carapace, you're increasing the number of attacks that the Terran needs to do to kill a Roach by almost like what, 20-30%. It's a pretty big difference. So it's going to make his units a lot more sturdy. It's going to make it hard to do damage with these drops. And I don't know if he realizes it. Oh, I see. So he wants to move the mutas across the map. He's not actually going to try to use them to defend. He wants to do damage. I can resonate with that. There are Marines at home, but yeah, he's going to lose his 4th base in doing so. Gets a bile or 2 on the Marines, but there's nothing to protect these SCVs. Marines are stimming up the ramp to try and come help. I do not believe that there's a turret in the natural. No. So if he wants, he can just skate on up over there and get some serious work done. Yeah, we got lots of SCVs going down in this natural expansion. So 13 worker kills puts Denver in actually a pretty good economic position, because he's also going to force him to build missile turrets, most likely, right? And he comes over to the gold and he's like, oh my god, I can't believe you took this right in my face. Jeez Louise. Hoisemida. It's Korean for I would like a cheeseburger, in case anyone was wondering. Now 1-1's about to finish for Clem, so he's going to get his first little power spike. And normally 1-1 isn't really that big of a deal. It's all about 2-2. But considering the way that this game has gone and the situation, it's coming in pretty late, so it's very important. It's going to make it a lot easier for him to actually accomplish stuff. Because the whole point of these mutas, be annoying, draw out force turrets. He scans the 4th. He's like, okay, that was taken pretty late. But he's got a lot of Roaches and Ravagers. He's got a lot. So he's hoping to just bile down the tanks and let those beefy Roaches deal some damage. However, he's 40 seconds away from his +2 Carapace. And now the Marines don't need those extra 8 or so attacks to kill the Roaches. So he still needs to be a little bit careful. When the upgrade is done, he's going to be super powerful. But if all of these tanks are able to siege up, there's a lot of siege tanks here, Tasteless, blasting down. He does bile one of the tanks. He gets the other one on the left side, but there's so much firepower here for Clem. He is absolutely obliterating that Roach Ravager force. The Marines chase up. They kill those. And while he will be able to make his way over towards this gold base, there is just too much bio, too many medevacs, too much support, too much power from Clem as he completely obliterates the entire army of Denver. And he didn't really do economic damage. And I think even more importantly, well, he didn't start +2 armor, huh? That's unfortunate. But I think even more importantly, he didn't kill enough of the tanks. You know, it's not like he can just follow up and be like, oh yeah, now it's just Roach Ravager versus Marine, mass biles for days. No, there's still 5 siege tanks over here. He's done a really good job at building up that force. And guess what? +1 for those tanks is about to finish. And that's going to add just a little bit more damage. It's going to help a lot with helping these Marines take 1 or 2 less hits to kill this army. Even with that +2 Carapace, it's not going to be enough anymore. He's sprinting forward. A lot of the medevacs taking damage from the biles because of it. But Clem charging forward with no fear. And this is what I was talking about, that +2 Carapace. He's a chunky boy. He does need the siege tanks to actually fight against this army. You do need the tanks. On their own, they can fight these Marines. That +2 does a lot. But, okay, you know what? No, he still has 6 siege tanks, right? He's got, what's the total? 7. My bad. Yeah, no. He's Gucci. And he's about to take his 4th base. So you're going to have a Terran on 4 bases versus a Zerg on 4 bases. And the big problem with this type of army composition from Denver is that as the supply increases for both players, Denver's army is just worse. Roach Ravager cannot compete on max supply at all with bio. You just stutter step Marines forward and A move. Literally, just stutter step, just bam, bam, thank you, ma'am. And you will absolutely rip those Roaches apart. He scans the gold. He scans the south base. He has the drop in the north. This is the only fresh vestige of economy for Denver. And Clem is just focused firing down the drones. He doesn't care about those Roaches. And there's so many siege tanks here. He's going to try to push into the gold base, but there's just so many tanks. A couple of the biles are going to come down. He gets 1 tank peeled off the front, tries to focus fire down. Another one on the top side. Takes forever for him to actually kill it. And in that time, everything else is dead. GG. Clem ties the series up 1-1. Boy, oh boy, this is exactly the matchup I was hoping for. What a fantastic game that was. All right, I am ready for game 3. I want more of this. I want more of this. I want a lot more of this. Good God. All right, Eternal Empire is the next map. I got the lobby invite. I am in. And all right, this the final game of this best of 3 is about to start, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's get it done. Let's get it done. The game is starting. Game 3 of Clem versus Denver coming up. All right, in the bottom left, we've got the blue Zerg player. He is Denver. Did really well with his Lingbane Muta. Not able to match it quite. Ooh, look at this. He says Bly would have won the last game. Yes, he probably would. Bly is very weird like that. His opponent in the top right, he is Liquid Clem. Clem is that new hot thing. If you've ever seen the movie Zoolander, equate Clem to Hansel. That is Clem. He's so hot right now. Everybody wants a piece of him. He's on the cover of all the latest magazines. He eats at the finest restaurants. He wears the freshest clothes and hangs out with the hottest dudes. Nobody can touch this guy. And I like this. He's going to go for the very strong Reaper build on this map. And I know I've seen Special actually do something like this quite a few times. You put on a lot of pressure. This is the easiest map in the StarCraft 2 pool right now to deny the third of the Zerg. He isn't sending an early SCV. Some Zerg players try to take this third very early, but if you block this, there is nowhere else to really take a base. So you end up seeing a lot of 2 base builds by Zergs, either by design because they are worried about having their base blocked, or by force because their thirds get blocked and they're like, okay, well, I guess I have to do something on 2 bases now. So because of that, Clem wants to put on some pressure. He's going to send out some Reapers. He's going to have a nice wall off too. It's going to be hard for him to get counter harassed. It's easy to expand behind this. Eternal Empire, in my opinion, is the best map in this pool for Terran. This is an amazing Terran map because you don't have too many avenues of attack. Terran is the weakest race when it comes to defending against counterattacks or run-bys if they get into your base, basically. So if you can keep them from getting in, you're okay. But you don't have cannons. You don't have photon cannons. You can't build in your mineral line or shield batteries. If Lings get all over your mineral line and you don't have units there, your SCVs are dead. So this map allows you to choke this point off. It's very small, very easily, and then you can kind of funnel everything through this front zone, and that makes it so much more easy to protect yourself against those attacks. Now, he is putting a pretty far out bunker, and he's doing this because he doesn't want Denver to pull everything to try and stop it yet. He's going to use it as a staging ground to regenerate the hit points of his Reapers when Zergling speed finishes. Now, of course, it's completely possible that Denver pushes this back in such a time that it's not able to be as effective as he would have otherwise wanted, but we already see Denver stuck on 2 bases. He's not, it's not like he tried to squeeze a drone out and grab that third. If he did, he would have been able to cancel it anyway. It's just another big strength of this. But because he's got this bunker, he can always just fall back into here and let the Reapers regenerate hit points from the inside. So it looks like we got a pause from Clem. Hopefully everything is okay. If they start chatting about some weird stuff like helicopters or zombies outside their homes, I will switch scenes. But for now, we'll just chill here. I think the entire Nate chat blanked to that tank fire. Oh, yeah. Now, the tank fire from the last game was wild. All right, and Clem says, go, go. He says, merci. 3, 2, 1. But yeah, man, hell of a series that we've had here so far. And this Overlord can see that the natural is going to be very, very late for Clem. So his number one priority, his big kicker as it would, is to really just get this bunker off his butt, take his third base, because he's not building any more Reapers, by the way. It's interesting. He went up to 5. So that's just enough to constantly be rotating 1 out of that bunker if they were all, you know, having pressure put on them. But there you go. There's a massive Ling surround on the Reapers. He's actually going to try and use this opportunity to jump up into the main with a few of them. Actually really good that he killed 3 of the Reapers before they were able to get into his main, because now he's going to get at least a drone or maybe 2, and he can see the lair. That's so nice to be able to see that lair timing. It's halfway done, and there's no third base. However, there's really not a lot of gas income either. Yeah, he's only just now taking the second extractor. I think he could just barely afford to build a Nidus network, but I don't think he will even do that. He doesn't have a Roach Warren. So it's probably going to be this third base, and maybe just a really fast Spire would make sense. Maybe just a really fast Spire. I'd kind of like to see that. He's almost got enough gas to build it. It could kind of line up Spire for 500. Alex? There you go. Yeah. Sometimes I do remember things about StarCraft and how people play and react. Of course, it's really nice to have this type of wall, but if down the line, having the add-ons here is actually going to choke them off. And I'm not talking about in the fun way with your mistress in a hotel room. If he needs to go for a lot of tanks or Thors or anything, this depot is the only way out of his base without blowing up a reactor with his tech lab. And I guess down the line, he could eventually do that. But he opens the wall. He like kind of baits him. And I wonder if he did that just because he had the Hellions about to finish, which was actually pretty smart. Pretty smart of him. Thank you guys. Some kind words in the chat. I really appreciate it. I'm really happy to be back and casting. I didn't have internet for a few weeks, so I know I'm not super caught up on everything. It took them forever to get it set up, but now that it's set up, it's working really well. So I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to, you know, basically a lot of things in my life got a lot better. So I'm waking up earlier. I've got more energy. And, oh, these Hellions, well, they'd have no energy. They're dead. They're dead. I mean, in a roundabout sort of way, they're sleeping forever, right? So they should have lots of energy. I digress. The other 2 Hellions run out. Make sure you don't get pinched on a corner like the last time. And that's kind of the thing that you're worried about, right? When the Overlord has this free vision spot and the only way in and out is clearly within that. Like, if the barracks were here and the depot was here, right? Like, it's possible that he wouldn't be able to see if it was open or not, right? Like, it's small things like that I don't know, I rack my brain over when it comes to StarCraft. Trying to get that Overlord. The Lings came in. They did a little bit of poking and prodding against those SCVs. There's not too many of them there, though. What is interesting now is what's going to happen with the Mutas. Because he's gotten them out at a pretty fast timing. And normally your concern would be that a Marine-based push could kill you. But his Baneling speed is almost done, too, because of how fast the lair was. Just don't lose the Muta. Oh. When a Muta has 12 health. Oh, that deep. That turret. This is what Zerg dreams are made of. Right around the time that turret wanted to finish. And that helps a ton, too, because if that one turret finishes, those Mutas have to back it up. But now, he's kind of got to deal with that. Baneling speed is so close. There are some Hellbats. He's just going to run the Banes without speed in. I think a bit of a mistake. He loses all of them instantly. There are 3 Banelings left, but if he's not willing to bring the Zerglings in at the same time, he can't do a whole lot there. These Marines are going to sprint forward to try and save the third as he continues to whittle away at the SCVs. Not having combat shields, actually. I didn't even think about this, but if a Marine without combat shield stims, it gets killed in one shot. And that's tough. That's tough. McMurphy in chat asks, do you want me to sub? Of course. If you can, you know, obviously don't give me your money if you can't afford to. If you want to support the channel, though, I do really appreciate it. This is my job. There's no more offline events for me to go cast. But look at this. Just that momentum, right? We talked about momentum in TvZ. Not having that turret, he was never able to really set up anything there. And even if he defends this big push of Ling Bane, which I think he will, this third command center should be able to kill it. I take that back. Obviously, he's not going to kill it now, unless he doesn't repair it. It is burning down. Whenever I see a command center with this low health, my heart rate shoots through the ceiling. Please repair it. Shorty burning on the dance floor. There we go. That one SU. Nope. No. Fix it. Oh my god. If he loses this command center at some point, I'm going to be very upset. I'm going to get angry. Okay, so the free vision overlord is dead. That's a really important pick-off. Makes it a little bit harder to judge when he can go for those run-bys. I would send more than one SCV to repair this. If he gets pushed off of that third again, he will lose the base, so... Good surround. Almost. Good pullback, I guess, from Clem. That one Widow Mine is going to get 5 Ling kills. Not bad, but Denver taking this base. Denver did a lot better in game number 1 with... Denver did really well in the first game with his Ling Bane Muta. But it looks like Clem is being a lot more patient. It seemed like Denver definitely smelled blood on the water. And like I said, I thought he was going to kill the third base. I'm happy to admit that I was wrong. I thought he was going to kill the third base for sure. Because, I mean, in my mind, when a Terran player gets pushed back like that by the Zerg, it's so hard to recover that footing. Oh, but he flies the Muta straight into the Marines. Oh, my goodness. Did he just kill one there? That's amazing. I thought for sure he was going to kill like half that Mutaflock. He doesn't really have a lot of Mutas. But at this point, it's just a couple of Widow Mines in these Marines. No, I think he's just got the factory on a reactor. I still want to see the second factory. I think he's about to build it right here. You need to get drilling claws to be able to actually get a prolonged fight going. No, it's a command center. Okay. Fourth base is also fine. But the next thing infrastructure-wise that he needs has to be a second factory. Oh my god, that mine shot was beautiful. That was actually really sick. Denver's not really spreading his creep. That's about the big thing that I'm noticing that I think is gonna hurt him. He's got a lot of tumors pushing east, but none of them are headed north. None of them are headed west. He's getting burrow. Actually, he has burrow now, which is nice. There's the second factory. It's in the natural. But it's gonna be a little bit difficult for him to defend this without having creep. Like he could have creep here already. But let's see what he can do. If he can drag the mine shots over the bio, he could turn this very fast. He does pick off one as it burrows. And what you want to do is, yeah, just run those lings in. Oh, beautiful mine shot drag over the bio. And it's pretty much just Marines now. And once he gets too far off, uh-oh, there's still one mine. There's still one mine, though. Okay, gets a good amount of the lings, but the banelings are alive. And now with the Mutalisks underneath, he can chase these pretty easily. Uh-oh, are these mines going to get the shots? One goes, nope. And the second, neither that either. It's just Marines running and running and running away, but the Widow Mines aren't being targeted onto the banelings, so stopping to fight the Mutas is very difficult. However, he still killed almost all of them somehow at the same time, which is wild. And he's just trying to push all the way back onto this base. The SCVs are in danger. 23 of them were at this command center, and the banelings rush into that mineral line. Widow Mine gets a big shot off, but actually kills the SCVs. Holy what the happened? 30 more Zerglings piling across the map. He's going to bait with that one. Still manages to grab a couple of extra Zerglings. Oh my god, I can't believe the Widow Mine shot killed the SC. Oh my god, Jesus, this game. Oh, my heart. My heart be still. My heart be still. Denver. I feel like I'm watching one of those movies where The Rock jumps in the window of a driving truck and just punches the driver out. Throws him out the window he came in and takes over. Denver's The Rock in this scenario. As Clem just got bashed in the face right there. 49 SCVs to 80 drones. He is getting his fourth base, though. If he can secure this base, there is still some pretty big opportunity for him. And I find it interesting. He's worried about the banelings, which is why this is an orbital command. I think in many cases you would want your fourth to be the planetary, but I think he's actually concerned that Denver will just send a crap ton of banelings into the planetary to bust it open. Because the Mutalisk count really isn't that high. Like 14 is like mid-range, right? Once you get past like 19 Mutalisks, that's when you start to get into the danger zone, and you need to get Thors and whatnot. But you know, we're kind of at that moderate amount of Mutas. He's gonna get the Thor anyway, which is still fine. He has the second factory. He has the production to do that. I really like the rally point on this supply depot being able to give him the ability to kind of block those run-bys if they try to go through, or at least get some preemptive shots off if they do run past. But he's got a really good pre-split. And there's no creep here at all. I mean, Denver really, if I have one criticism to make of Denver in this game, a serious criticism, there's just no creep. He hasn't been spreading creep at all. These lings, these banes are going to come in. Like I said, the nice side of this is he can lift this command center, but he has to be able to stop the army so that he can keep the Mutas from sniping it as well. And he is going to run forward. The banelings are gone. That's really, really important. A planetary fortress, when the base, oh god. Okay, good scan. I was going to say the burrowed banelings. I was about to have another heart attack. This game has just been insane. But You know, the funny thing about a planetary fortress is you normally think of static defense like, oh, I don't want to attack static defense, right? I'd rather kill the workers or the base. But because the planetary fortress is the base, if you can kill it, it's always worth it to kill it, right? Because then they have to rebuild the entire base. So that's one of the reasons why I like having, like, you know, defensive planetaries that aren't your base, if that makes sense. But so if he was able to get, you know, bring 40 banelings onto that fourth, he could have lifted it. So that can be nice. Man, this game has been wild. This game is just bad crazy. Oh, there's no turret here, so the mutas are going to be able to come back down, picking off even more SCVs. Clem's done a really good job of replacing them, though. He's at 50. He's at like 57 plus. But you see all these Lings and all these Banes. He can lift it if he needs to, but the SCVs might still all die. Target. Oh my god, nope. Well, the Widowmine just targeted the Marines instead. So he's forced back up his ramp. Lift the command center. The Lings are on it. He needs to get to that command center. He did burrow 2 Banelings. Oh no! Oh my god. Oh, that was... Goodbye, command center. Goodbye, my lover. Is he gonna save it? That'll be the weird... No, of course not. I was gonna say, that'll be the weird story of this movie, is that I keep talking about this command center and then it actually never dies. Oh, shit. Oh my god. Oh, what a game. So the Marines are desperately trying to hold this back. There's a flood of Lings coming in. And one of the reasons... Oh, the mines! They get almost all the Mutalisks! Okay. Well, you know, but here's the crazy thing. The Marines have 3-3. The Marines have +3 upgrades, so they can actually fight really well still against the Ling Bane. Even at a disadvantage in numbers, he can actually still fight. He has the 4th command center. He can move it down. I think it would be risky to turn it into an orbital again. At this point, he needs that defense, but he's so broke. Anytime a Terran player is floating gas like this, he's got 2,000 plus gas. That is 100% because all he's doing is slamming down that Marine key because he needs the Marines. They're the units that fight. The mines can't do it on their own. The medevacs can't do it on their own. A Thor can't do it on its own. You need those Marines, and it's a lack of mineral income from his main base mining out, his natural base having half patches, his 3rd base getting Bane busted every 30 seconds. And that is another big problem, because even though he's still putting out those Marines, he's got 30 Marines and 20 Widow Mines. By the way, whole 20 Widow Mines. That's kind of crazy. But he can't get Liberators. He can't get a lot of Thors because he just doesn't have a lot of minerals. So the only thing he can build are those cheap Marines. But now he needs Ghosts. He needs Marauders, Liberators, something that can really help him fight against those Ultralisks that are going to be coming out, because if his army is still just primarily Marines, when +3 chitinous plating Ultras show up, backed by Adrenal Glands 3/3 Zerglings, I mean, there's just not going to be anything that Clem can really do. Theoretically, a bunch of mines could kill Ultralisks. When you have 20 Widow Mines, I suppose anything's possible. But, yeah. I mean, the only real thing that I'm trying to... Like when I look at this and I see paths to success, there's still no creep. So reinforcing for Denver takes longer than it should, because he hasn't really been spreading creep. You know, this might be like the 4th time he's pushed this up here. But he does have the burrowed Banes. That's very important to keep in mind. I'll put Banes on every ramp and just take bases. Man, this game has just been crazy. This is what I was hoping for. You know, when this series started, I was talking about how I want to see a good back and forth game 3 macro bloodbath, and this is exactly it. If Clem finds a way to win this game, I'm going to lose it. I still really like Denver's position. He's getting the Ultras out. He's got 4 right now. He's got lots of Zerglings, plenty of Banelings. He's going to push up now on off creep. And like I said, this is where the opportunity is created. Being off creep, he doesn't have the necessary mobility that he would usually have. He gets rid of the Mutas. He gets rid of the Overseer. That's really big. He doesn't have a way to actually clear out the Widow Mines. And if he runs forward with just naked Ultras, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. But at the same time, we got some Zerglings going over the top side. Widow Mine's going to be able to grab 3 of them. There are 3 more mines here, but they might try those shots onto the SCVs. He does save them, which is nice, but here come the Ultras and the Banes. You need to lift that orbital command. The Banelings gets about half of them with the Widow Mine shots, and that's it. Just keep retreating. There's no Overseer. He kills the Ultra with mines. He did it. He killed an Ultralisk with Widow Mines, but he's got 4 Banelings burrowed on this ramp, so if he runs down to try and protect this 4th base, it's going to be hard. But that's the nice thing about not using planetary fortresses. He can always lift it up. Easily the most important part of this equation. These Marines are ready to come out, but there's a lot of burrowed Banelings, and I gotta say, I'm quite concerned. Yeah, who needs Marauders when you have Widow Mines, I guess, right? Oh, but there's 4 Banelings. No! Oof. And now the rest of the Ultras are going to try to come charging forward. He does have quite a few Widow Mines, but I don't think that mines alone are going to be able to save the day here. There's a few more of those Burrowed Banes. He just unburrows them and brings them forward. They took up a mine shot. The rest of the Medivacs trying to pull the army behind the wall. And the Ultralisk's going to have a hard time getting through that wall, but he doesn't have his third mining. His third's dead. He doesn't have his fourth mining. It's in the air. He has a fifth. The SCVs are just chilling. I'm like, you know what? He probably saw something. Yeah, he loads 5 SCVs into that. He burrows the Lings under. And now he just doesn't have the base. What's he going to do? What's Clem going to do? Denver just going for an absolutely overwhelming victory at the end of this game. And as much as Clem tries to hold on, look at that income tab. Look at it. I can't remember that movie where the guy screams at him. Look at it. GG. Well played. Denver with the 2-1. Hot damn. What an amazing match.